This is a Headgum podcast.
I'll always remember it was late afternoon. It lasted forever. It ended so soon. Yeah, moving ahead. In places no one will find. All your feelings so deep inside. Hit it. Deep inside was there that I realized that forever was in your eyes. The moment I saw you cry.
That was Cry by Mandy Moore. My guest today killed the vocal, so I was just like, you know what? We're going to be untraditional today. 2023, all about shaking things up. And I was like, guest, you take the lead. So you know what? Not where were we? What year is it that we're listening to Mandy Moore? We're back in 2008. You know, my year. I love it when the guest of the day has the same year as me. It just feels so cozy and at home. And I know you're like, Greta, we've been in 2008 before. What are you going to tell me that's different? How are you going to get me in the mood for 2008? So today I decided, again, this episode is going to be crazy because we're doing new things. I am going to tell you the 2008 food trends. Now, there are two things that are interesting about this. The first thing is I found a list on Grub Street called Food Trends for 2008, okay? This was written on December 11th, 2007. So this was someone, 3 weeks out to 2008 was like, I'm going to guess what I think the food trends are going to be. And now, because, we are a solid 15 years past 2008, we get to kind of see if this is true. So this list, it's only 11 things, and I'm just gonna go for it. Okay. Grub Street thinks in 2008, food trends. 1, speed. Forget drive-ins. People will order and pay for food with their mobile phones.
A witch wrote this.
2, niche dining. Very specific focused food outlets such as ceviche bars, chocolate lounges, and kebab counters.
They didn't mention poke, but that's included.
3, gastro bartenders. This is called the quote-unquote bar chef phenomenon, where bartenders are using more fresh ingredients and exotic ingredients like herbs and superfruit. I will say yes. I will say this happened for sure. Nutritional scoring. Wow, this is crazy. This person was so spot on. We already get nutritional labels on food. Menus may be next, okay? And that's happening. When I go to my mobile phone to order food, I can see the caloric count. Head to tail dining. Yes, innards are on the menu. This has become very popular. Dessert restaurants. These are apparently big already in some locations. Pastry stuffs are opening. Okay, see, I don't feel like dessert restaurants went as far as this person thought.
Well, let's reference the Union Square classique, Max Brenner, which went out of business.
Yes, and was a chocolaterie.
A chocolaterie.
Wacky ice cream. This one is self-explanatory. What's the strangest flavor you've seen? Okay, I do feel like wacky ice cream is a thing. Like salt and straw, they get crazy.
It has prevailed. I was just in Portland, and the ice cream flavors were out of pocket.
No, they're unwell.
Not okay.
They're unhinged. No one needs, I personally, I am not like a bacon in everything person. Like, I hate that personality type. So that's just on that. Gastronomy for kids.
We're going to go a hard no on that one. Kids don't deserve gastronomy.
Okay, this one's interesting. Are you ready for this? Hamburgers go upscale. I mean, I kind of feel like that's so true. This one has been around for a while, but apparently it's trickling down to fast food outlets and custom burger bars.
I think those have... Remember when people were lining up for milkshakes at Black Tap? Like, it was like a...
Yeah.
And that's a burger place I think tried to put an up to.
I'm going to say the next one is wrong. Small is big. The small plate phenomenon continues.
If you want to get divorced, bring your husband to a tapas restaurant.
It's very funny because I do have a joke about a tapas restaurant in the hour that you're going to see at the Elysian Theater on March 14th, March 14th, 21st, and 28th. Please get your tickets to come and see me at the Elysian Theater. It is my hour of comedy where I do have a joke about tapas in that. Anyway, the last one is ethical eating. And I feel like ethical eating did get big. You know, like I feel like people care more.
Oh, about the things that the cows are being fed.
Yeah.
About the ways the chicken are being slaughtered.
Correct. And like where and like location and like
How many in a cage.
Correct. Anyway, so that's kind of like to get us in the mood for 2008. Oh, and according to the internet, 2008 was, in the United States, the year of Pesto.
Mazel tov to Pesto and having such a good year. We're so proud of her.
The girl has... Pesto is one of my favorite sauces.
And I'd say that if anybody wants to feel like a cook, they'll put a blender. What's in pesto?
It is basil, pine nuts, or if you don't like pine nuts, you can use like another nut, but I'm a pine nut girl.
Sure.
Classically.
Sure.
Basil, pine nuts, lemon, a ton of olive oil, pecorino cheese.
And then you feel like you are Alison Roman.
Yes. And salt, of course, you can't forget the salt.
Who knew 2008 was such a year for food?
I know. And where were we in 2008? We were in St. Louis, Missouri.
Who
were we in 2008?
We were a closet case with a dream, honey.
And our name was Eric Williams.
Oh, that's my name.
AKA a closet case with a dream.
Eric Williams.
Eric.
Greta.
Thank you for coming on the show.
I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be here, truly.
What a treat, just like pesto.
Blended up with the pine nuts included.
So tell me, what was going on in your life in 2008? You know, as we talked before we started the podcast, Randy Sklar was on a few weeks ago. Also a St. Louian. I don't know if
And a St. Louian Jewian.
And a St. Louian Jewian. You guys went to the same synagogue.
Synagogian.
Sure
Sure did.
St. Louian.
Shout out to B'nai Amunab.
Hello, B'nai Amunab.
Yeah, I have to say, if we go back to B'nai Amunah, a little before high school was my bar mitzvah, of course. And by bar mitzvah, I mean my B'nai Mitzvah, because my twin brother and I were bar mitzvah together.
Well, by the way, I had a B'nai Mitzvah too, because I went to the largest Reform congregation in DC.
I'm listening.
And since there were so many of it, do you remember how our year, everyone was like, this is the most kids of like the boomers, like had the most kids like this year.
Wow, I forgot.
And it was like the most college applications, the most people graduating from college or high school, the most this and that. So it was the same thing for the bar and bat mitzvah season, because they were like, this is the most kids we've ever had to bar and bat mitzvah.
So you had to share a date.
So I had to share a date.
Who did you share with?
Shout out to Zach Ratner. I don't know where you are, but you know.
So your service was together?
Yeah.
Did you have to share, like, did you do one half of the Haftorah or something? Did you ever do a unison moment?
No.
Did you harmonize?
We didn't.
Could he sing?
I have to be honest, no. And like I was killing it. Like,
of course you were.
I was singing my like Haftorah portion to the tune of Amazing Grace. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and you were, of course, adding vibrato at age
100%.
13.
Well, in my mind, I was like, this isn't, because, you know, my mother famously banned me from getting an agent when I was a child.
Famously.
So I was like, well, you know, Zach Ratner could have agents on his side. So I need to be giving 110.
Listen, I'm sure his uncle in DC was looking for talent because Signature Theater was casting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure you nailed it. Mine was devastating because I had a growth spurt. I was 6 feet tall. My shoe size currently is in tennies a 13.
Oh my God.
At age of 13, they were also a size 13.
Oh my God, you were like Flipper.
I was, yeah.
Were you a good swimmer?
You know what's devastating about that question is that when people hear the height, they, of course, ask about insert sport here. And could I swim? Sure.
Yes. Were you good?
No, mama. I also, the basketball question came up too.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not joking. I was walking my dog and this stranger, I haven't been asked this in at least 1 to 2 decades. Guy walks next to me. He goes, oh, you're tall. Basketball player? I was like, I am a 33-year-old gay man.
No.
with a herniated disc, honey.
Yeah.
You think that I have touched a basketball? I was on the basketball teams, and the only memory I have is when I was all alone on the side of the court because I guess the ball was thrown to me. I couldn't get it in the basket by myself.
Here's my thing. I feel like basketball players now are like low-key jacked. And I'm not saying you don't have a gorgeous bod, but like,
I don't have...
you know, like basketball players, I feel like they're like fucking buff now.
Well, that's the thing is I would look at the basketball players. I'm like, sure, you are tall, but you have some mass. And I
Yeah.
was gangling, bitch.
Yeah.
I was like, at the time, if we're talking about going into high school, I was at the baby fat era. I was 6 feet tall, but chunk. I was having...
Were you chunk all through high school, or did it
No,
come
that's
off?
what. So it's a funny story because I was like, chunk, nary a jawline to be seen. But then I saw that lack of jawline, and so I said, you know what? I'm gonna stop eating as much ice cream. I'm gonna...
Oh, you put yourself on a diet.
I did, and I literally think it was a combination of having like granola and yogurt at lunch instead of chocolate pudding every day, combined with just like the natural way my body grew, that I
Yeah.
did shed some pounds.
Yeah.
And my mom, who famously needs to make sure that the worst fear is spoken, she goes, "Do you have an eating disorder?"
Yeah.
Asked my doctor, "Does he have an eating disorder?" And I was like, "Do I have an eating disorder?" But I didn't. I just like...
You just made you went toward a more healthy lifestyle.
I just ate more healthily. I stopped drinking soda, and I like lost a little too much weight because I think I had like a little bit of like a insert devastating reference of like impoverished people, but like I looked a little too thin, and then I think it just like evened it out. But I never had the muscle mass to bring it back to basketball. After middle school, I stopped pretending to enlist in a sport, and I just went full theatrical roots.
That's great.
Thank you.
I would just like to say that most people, to some degree, had like a devastating diet in high school.
I would have to agree. Devastating diet coupled with maybe like a devastating skincare situation, whether it's the Accutane, whether it's the tanning bed, especially in 2008.
I had an impeccable skincare routine only because my mom's best friend was her dermatologist.
Stop it.
So I was like on the skincare early. I also was terrified of tanning beds.
See, that surprises me about you because I know that you were so hot in high school, and I feel like a pool of hot girls was an infrared cancerous bed.
There were different kinds, you know, that I definitely had those girls in my school.
Did you spray?
I didn't.
Wow,
I
I'm
didn't.
so impressed.
I only got, here's what my tanning journey, if you really want to know, didn't spray, didn't tan at all, at all through high school.
Wow.
Then I went to University of Arizona for my freshman year and got all the sun damage the world had to offer in a year.
By sitting outside?
Oh, yeah. By just like, you know, I always wear sunscreen. I would be the kind of girl that would like always wear sunscreen on my face, but would never wear sunscreen on my body.
So your face was perfectly like slightly paled and tanned.
Yeah,
but then
I would
your
have to like
were...
shellac I still do. I need to like shellac my face to match my body, even though I was just saying I'm very pale.
Do you have sunspots on your shoulders?
Do I?
Oh my God, I love it. No.
Do I have sunspots?
You have a
on
few
my
really
shoulders?
sexy freckles and then perfectly healthy skin.
Yeah. But then, you know what I did do? And I stopped because when I left Arizona and I moved to New York, I did miss having like a little glow in the winter. I got kind of used to having like a little bit of tan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to a stand-up tanning bed.
And the rest is her
So,
story.
well, hold on. I went to a stand-up tanning bed once, and I was like, okay. I was like, this is kind of nice. Like, I have a little color. And then I went a second time, and I had a night seminar, like a class that was from like 7 to 10.
Yeah.
And I tanned right before class, and I got to the class. I like didn't even look at myself in the mirror after the tanning bed, like rushed to class. And this girl sitting next to me, she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" She was like, "You're so red and you're radiating so much heat." And I was like, "What?" And I like looked down, and I was like, I think that the fucking tanning bed must have been like full blast. Like I got so burnt.
No.
And it was so embarrassing, and I never went again.
Well, the thing is, I thought I'm devastated for you, but I'm glad the direction wasn't that your tan like rubbed off on the chairs.
Oh, well,
because-
I have had, I do want you to know I have had spray tan incidents where, like when I got proposed to in Mexico, I got a spray tan before because I was pale.
Of course.
And then I went to get a massage there, and it was with oil, and I was on bright white linen sheets, and it literally looked like I smooched poo-poo all over them.
Smooch the
awful.
poo-poo. Well, there's like, I feel like a few housewives scenes where I'm sure like Dorit or someone like stands up from the white reunion couch and it's just like, "Oy!" or like has to like
disgusting.
lose their deposit for like the Airbnb.
And the question is, were you tanning in high school?
Honey, no. I regret even the thought coming into my head, and now that I'm saying it, I regret it even more. But I did do a Jergens self-tan when I was in a problematic production of Once on This Island.
Wow. Okay, so wait, you were full on, and we're getting back to you in high school.
Sure.
So you were in high school, you lost a bunch of weight, and you were full on in theater.
I was full on in theater because it's just an interesting paradox of being so deeply closeted, but so unable to stop my gay roots from showing, which
Yeah.
is the need to be in a spotlight.
Yeah.
Which was the need to say school announcements in front of the school in the morning, the need
Sure.
to MC a variety show and lip sync Dreamgirls.
Sure.
But I did not come out to a single soul until literally the like fourth to last week of high school, my senior year. And so
Who was it?
It was my good Gerlina Jordana.
Yeah.
And we were in a Steak and Shake. Shout out.
I love Steak and Shake.
And, you know, if I'm being honest, the full coming out story is that I was on a college trip to NYU to see if it was my senior year. And oh my God, I've told the story recently because how could I not? The first person I met during this trip to NYU was my first friend in college, Stephanie Hsu, Academy Award nominee.
Oh my God.
Who I sat next to in this like accepted students reception. On the way back from this trip, I was in the Chicago airport with my mother, who had known I'd been bullied for my entire life, but I hadn't really talked about any of those traumas
Right.
for a little bit. So my mom said, you know, Eric, let's choose the time while you're eating Panda Express and O'Hare to ask how are you feeling about, you know, we haven't talked about your sexuality, which I think we know when any Jewish mom doesn't have a single boundary or good timing.
Yeah, and she knew. She probably just wanted to hear it.
I think she probably knew that like also it was a rare time that we were alone without the like excitement of my other brothers or
Right.
people. And so I instantly broke down and started weeping and told her I was gay. But I mean, as traumatic as that was, it did really, I felt the weight. Because I sat on the plane, I was like, you know, like my face is streaked with tears.
Right.
But I also knew that it was an actual new chapter. I felt the
nice.
gravitas of it. And so I ended up, before I told anybody else in my immediate family, I have 3 brothers, and I didn't tell my dad, I didn't tell my brothers yet. I told my friend Jordana at Steak and Shake before we went to the concert of her boyfriend and the boy I was in love with.
What was the oh wait, hold on. So you were in love with your best friend's boyfriend.
And I texted her this very morning about it because, you know, I love this podcast so much. I just have to say, like,
Oh, thank you.
Huge fan of Senior Superlatives, huge fan of Greta. I love the work that this room does. And
Thank you.
I have to say that when I found out I was going to be coming on, I was like, I actually don't know what my friend's perspective was of my loud faggotry. And so I texted my group of girls because I did not feel close to really any boys in high school besides my good girlfriend's boyfriend who I did theater with. He was also an athlete. So like I was friends.
Wow. You know, I gotta say
it.
I cannot stand the straight boy in high school who's an athlete and a theater person.
Oh, honey.
And nice and does community service. It's like you can't have it all.
Well, if I want to make you feel a little better, he was nice to the people he thought he could get something from, and he did end up treating me poorly. If you want to know the real truth, I haven't thought about this in years. But
I do.
I was in like as many shows as I could be in, and a huge theater in St. Louis is called the Muni. It's like, you know, a 12,000 seat outdoor theater.
But was this like, were you doing theater outside of high school?
This was like over the summer.
Okay.
So I would, between high school years, I would do like their youth ensemble. You would
Right.
audition and be like 30 teenagers, you know, being in the background of Grease.
Right.
Or whatever it was. And I
We'll
did.
be together like
Also, P.S. that production was there. These shows were insane. They had Broadway people coming, but this show was terrible. Anywho, I was doing Les Mis.
Oh.
And it was a big deal because I was in a lot of the show, and I got this guy, like my only 2 comp tickets I got. I, of course, gave them to the guy I was friends with and had a low-key crush on. And I found out that he came to the show, but he left at intermission. And the way I found out is because I found out he went to a party, and I asked my friends what time he arrived. Baby, Les Mis is 3 hours long. He got there at 9:15. The show started at 8.
What
You
a
do the math.
dweeb. What a dweeb.
Fucking dweeb.
It
But
sounds like he didn't even leave at intermission. It sounds like he left like halfway
at the end of the day
through
or another day,
Yeah.
skip. He, I don't know when. Oh, and then if I'm really being honest, I did musical theater professionally like, right after college. Now I've kind of realized that I need to make a living. But I was doing a show in Nashville all of 7-8 years ago, and he lives in Nashville. I can't believe
Did he come?
It doesn't fucking matter. I'm just saying it all. So what happened?
Well, here's the thing. You haven't said his name.
I haven't said his name. So what happened is I hadn't talked to him in years. He really, whatever. I hadn't talked to him, but he messaged me. He's like, "Oh, you're in Nashville." So I said, "You know what? The show I'm doing, I have some tickets. I was at the Grand Ole Opry is where the show was.
Cool. What was the show?
It was How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Who were you?
I was the understudy for Cindy Lou Who's dad.
Okay. Well, Cindy Lou Who's dad is fun.
Yeah. Papa
Did you get
Who.
to perform at all?
No, I was in the ensemble when I wasn't doing that, and it was a terrible, terrible experience. It was like 10 to 12 shows a week, and it wasn't like a theme park show. It was like a full show, but they just did so many. It ended up being like fine because I got paid pretty okay for what it would have been. The hotel that I was put up in was pretty good. We had rental cars. Like, it could have been worse, but it was one of the turning points for me to be like, oh, I deserve a different life and career. So anyways, I give him tickets, and then I say, hey, after the show, meet me in the lobby. I go to the lobby after the show. He's there.
Okay, I thought you were going to say that he...
Before I say anything, I give him a hug, and he goes, so... And I was like, what now? There was so much traffic. We walked in during this part. This part he referenced was the bows.
No.
I said, I understand that there was some traffic getting to the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. I do not understand that it is 2 hours long.
Also, the theater is full, honey. Everyone else made it on time.
And lie to me. I don't care that you didn't see...
Is he straight?
Yeah.
This guy's a dweeb.
Oh, I agree. Dweeb vibes, and also I have now learned.
What made you fall in love with him in high school?
Because he was hot, he was confident, but also he was like someone that we could laugh during theater things together.
Right.
And he, you know what it is? Truly, he probably wasn't mean to me. And I still carry with me a lot now of if I find a friendship with a straight man, it means so much to me because I think that there's something about a straight man who can be friends with gay people, queer people, that can really make them feel seen and safe. That, especially growing up in the Midwest in a very specific sliver of St. Louis, I the meanest people to me were straight men.
Were you bullied a lot in high school?
It's funny because I was definitely bullied, but I had this paradox of I was deeply closeted, but I was really still myself, pretty funny and loud and silly and bursting to express myself. And so I was able to shine some of my light in a way that attracted my good girlfriends that I felt great with. But then there were also the straight assholes who were mean to me. And so I definitely was bullied. But it's not the traditional thing where you look back and you're like, he must have been eating his sandwich in the bathroom stall. But I was sitting with my girls because they were my people that I felt safe with. And I was protecting myself against the mean guys.
Right.
I mean, this, and I have to say this because it's a true part of the story is that when I started my podcast, I had to talk to my twin brother because a part of my story is that some people that were a part of the bullying was my twin brother and my older brother. And not that they were at school pushing me into trash cans, but they definitely didn't realize that I was gay and how some of the things were landing with me that they were, picking at me for.
Right.
And so I had to tell him, I've talked about this on my podcast a little bit, and he was so gracious. And I have to say that my brothers now, truly, not just to like protect myself and feel fine with my family, my brothers have grown up to be really sensitive, great dads and good people. And
So
my
nice.
twin brother said to me, you don't need to apologize for talking about it on the podcast. I was mean to you and I have to live with that.
Are you guys identical or fraternal?
Very fraternal. I'm 6'2". He's still 5'4".
Oh my God.
He is straight. I am gay. He works in finance. I don't have money yet.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is
The height
crazy.
difference is wild.
The height difference alone. I mean, people, of course, I had an identity crisis for a second, let alone being like the gay person in St. Louis trying to grapple with everything. I was also like, my whole family, my mother is 5 feet. My dad's like 5'8", I would say. I was like, do I have a DNA connection?
Is there something so wrong
Is it
with
like,
me?
was I switched in the hospital? But no, I came out of my poor mother having these 2 babies in her tiny 5-foot frame.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my high school experience was crazy.
Do you feel like, because I talked about this a lot on last week's episode with Jill Gutowitz, how like felt like it was like peak time when we were in high school of every joke being like, you're gay.
Yes.
Or like the F word, which I don't say. Everyone's like, why do you call it the F word? Just say it. No,
well, for
honey.
the record, some of the only straight people or any person that is not a gay man that could say it, one of those people is Greta Titelman.
No,
for sure. I'm not saying you should. I'm saying that if you ever feel.
No.
I have one girlfriend that I'm like, you can say fag. But it was the year, and it's funny, you beautifully re-released the Matt Rogers episode of this podcast, and he said something that really resonated too with me, which is like that this was the era where Eminem was on the radio saying like how fucking, bad it is to be gay. And it was that time. Here's what it was bad to be. It was bad to be gay and it was bad to have body hair. Both of those things I wasn't had. So,
I mean, body hair.
Oof. I talk about it too much on my podcast because I have...
You felt like it was bad for you to have body hair?
She says with incredulity, yes.
I mean...
it was bad news bears. I was shaving. I was in the locker room covering myself up. And to the point where a couple of us were changing in the stall during PE.
No, not the stall change.
Yes, the stall change.
I thought that only like girls did that.
No, boys too. So we would change in the stall, and to the point where the asshole PE teacher, wrestling coach, he was, and I'm sure to this day he still fucking sucks. He came in and I heard that this was happening. And he goes, if anybody changes in the stall again, I'm going to lower your grade by a letter. I was like, who are you protecting? Are you trying to look at little boys? Like, I obviously didn't say a single word, but I don't know what he was trying to get at. What was the power move to say that we were not allowed to do that? Maybe in his mind, he was like, I'm helping these kids by forcing them to feel vulnerable and afraid.
But yeah, it was like, God, this is why there needs to be a test for you to be a teacher,
to be an adult, to be a parent, to be. I think I and when I listen to this podcast too, I just like some of the things I hear. I'm like, I understand that everybody has a struggle and a journey and baggage, but when it comes to young minds,
I know
I don't understand how certain things can be said.
It's crazy because, like, it is a time where you're like so. Like insecure
and
you like don't know
impressionable.
what's going on, and then like there's nothing worse than like if you're feeling some type of way about yourself, then you have a teacher, like an older person that's supposed to be like knowledgeable, kind of like reinforce that in your psyche.
Oh my
God,
it's
terrible.
I have to say, one of the things that stuck with me, and it's clearly a very deep psychological impression that is speaking to what you just said. I had a teacher, because I was of course made fun of for being girly and gay, and I had a teacher in like 10th grade who was talking about evolution, and we were talking about, for whatever reason, like bodies, and he was talking about the differences between the male and the female skull and whatever, and he said, like, look at Eric as an example, as like a guy. Eric has like a stronger jawline, and when he said that, I felt like a warmth go, like a beautiful, happy warmth go through my whole body because it was one of the only times that my quote unquote masculinity had been like affirmed in front of a group of people, and
That's
I haven't
so
forgot about it. And I was
nice.
I was 16 years old, and
Yeah.
I'm now 33 still talking about it.
I mean, look, these things impact us.
And they stick with us.
Yeah.
And so of course I remember the mean things said to me, but that moment too I was like, wow, I guess I am not just a
They were like, and look at Eric, his gorgeous jaw. And now let's turn and look at Tiffany, her saggy floppy tits dragging on the floor.
her childbearing hips.
Yeah, her sad childbearing hips and no jaw. No jaw.
All shall amount to be is a mom and a woman
Yeah.
laboring. in the
Mom, and probably not even a wife.
Not even.
Probably just a mom.
How many
Tits.
divorces, Tiffany, do you think you're gonna get? What? Yeah, no, there was a lot of impressionable things said to us. And of course, I to this day also have daddy things where I love an older man, and my crushes on teachers started as early as I remember in 5th and 6th grade.
I don't think I had enough crushes on my teachers.
Really? Who are you crushing on?
Boys, my age.
Yeah. That's probably because you
And
maybe were like more...
Ashton Kutcher,
Oh,
you know.
same. But that might just mean you have more of a well adjustment in your brain. I was like, Mark, my 6th grade teacher was 43. I want to suck his. I was like fully 11 saying this like in my head. I was like, I actually talked about this recently. I had the honor of having Dave Holmes on my podcast, MTV VJ legend,
Yes.
also from St. Louis, also
Love
gay.
that.
And I told him about a story that I would be like 7 or 8 years old, and my dad owns a pharmacy, and I would go to his pharmacy as a child, and the businessmen that would walk in, I would have dreams at night of climbing them like a tree and grabbing their stubbly faces and making out with them at fully 8 years old.
I love that.
It started early, girl.
You know, we all have like our freaky deaky things.
We do, and it stuck with me. If I see gray hair,
I think that like I definitely did like older guys because like when I was a teen, you know, I thought that like George Clooney was so hot.
Yeah.
And like those people like are significantly older than us.
Oh yeah.
You know?
When you were dating boys though, was it like jock jams? Were you into the quarterback, or who were you crushing on? Was it?
Well, we didn't have a football team in high school.
Sure.
You know, that was kind of ran the gamut. Like I would be like artsy guys, some like arts. There were always like art sport combo. Like, I don't know.
So you liked physique with sensitivity.
None of them were sensitive. One of them was.
Is there someone right now that you like celebrity wise really jerks your gherk?
This is hard. I gotta say, you know, Ashton Kutcher, me and Patty have been like looking at pics of Ashton. He can fucking get it. I would love to have a threesome with him and Mila.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
That would be a absolute dream.
What kind of lover do you think Ashton is? He probably used to jackhammer. But now it's slow. The years go by and the hips go slower.
Yeah, and he's like, you know, I don't know. He's like, I feel like he's like gotten healthy. He's been like running, you know.
Stamina.
He's like he's stamina. And Mila, I think Mila is crazy.
She loves to be on top.
I think she like fucking snaps his back. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think she's in charge.
You know what I wish for these, just men in general? I wish that people like Mila at least offer up a pegging, offer up a rim job.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
I just hope it's more widespread than is admitted, which is like men getting eaten out.
I mean, I think you'd be surprised.
I'm sure. I hope I am.
I think that, to be honest, here's what I will say. I actually think that in heterosexual relationships, the women are for the most part more giving to be of service to the whole. It's the men that are bashful about their little asses. Because I think men feel like, oh my God.
It means something.
If I like a finger in my ass or if I like someone eating out my ass, then it means I'm gay.
Honey.
And everyone's scared of being gay.
Goddess put the prostate.
The prostrate
The prostrate and the prostate
and the prostate
in the boy hole
in the
for
boy
a raison.
hole for a raison. And that's in the Bible, you know? And God said,
Let there be prostate in the bee hole.
Yep. That's Psalm
Ecclesiastes.
Psalm 11:12, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my Bible.
Bible.
Were you a good student?
So good.
Yeah, I knew it. I don't even know why I asked that.
Well,
I knew you were a good student. I bet you have good handwriting.
and that's where you're wrong.
Really?
It is chicken screech.
Is it?
It is. Well, I mean, it's not that bad. It's just not good. It's not. You know what I wish I had? I wish I had girl handwriting. I wish I had bubble letters. You know? Oh,
my
God.
sister has the most gorgeous girly bubble letters ever.
And it's like a curve. Like,
I'm a lefty.
me too.
Oh my God.
It's too far.
I'm a lefty, and it took me so long to because in school, the world is built for righties. Okay, scissors, notebooks, fucking all of it.
Pen.
The
stuff on
Tevi
your
is
hand.
looking at us like we're crazy.
I'm just trying. How is it that much?
Because
Oh, wow, privilege.
when you write with a pen, you drag. Okay, so you can't just use any pen. You need to use I found Bic like the plastic pen,
Yeah.
like the one you can't use like an inky pen.
You can't use an inky pen. And by the way, your handwriting too gets damaged because if you have like a 3-ring moment or if you have a spiralite,
you need to
it's getting in the way of the hand.
Yeah, it's getting in the way
versus
hand.
the right hand where you just have paper and an open space.
Right. You have freedom with the right hand. You don't with the left hand. You're like, how am I gonna work this out? And then next thing you know, you're turning your journal or your notebook, fucking full on vertical or like horizontal, so the rings are there.
There needs to
and
be
then
more
you're
said.
writing all crazy.
Left-handedness is.
It's hard. So then what I found is I write in all caps.
That is so like. I hate to say it, but like power boss bitch move.
Is it? I mean,
I think so.
Like it kind of looks like I'm screaming. Like it looks kind of crazy.
She's got receipts like we're at a reunion. Oh my God, you do.
You know, I literally write in full on.
It is also good handwriting. I wish I could show you mine.
But it's like, it looks like I'm screaming, you know?
But I feel like people are going to find your journal in 100 years and be like, she was an artist.
No, they're going to find my journal in 100 years and it's going to be like, I really think today is going to be a better day than yesterday. I just have to believe in myself. Everything will work out, right?
She was an artist who really suffered. But I was a good student because I had a twin brother who we were competing against each other.
Sure.
You know, it was like who is better in this class?
But it was always you. You know?
In certain subjects, unfortunately, I didn't have a science brain as much as he did.
He's math.
He's a math science girl, and so he ended up doing like AP chemistry, and I was like, I'm gonna let you have it, fucking loser. I was like, I'm gonna let you have that because I'm not even gonna pretend.
Also, I'm sorry, being an AP Chem, honey, it's embarrassing. Okay, what are you trying to prove? AP European history, sure.
Like, yeah,
AP Bio, sure. AP Chem?
And he's not a doctor.
No. You got to be a doc. I'm calling you doc if you're an AP Chem. If you did AP Chem and you're not a doctor,
sad.
Flop. Just saying, I don't make the rules.
Well, I think he's getting the last laugh because he owns a house.
And you know what? You will too.
I will.
Did you drink in high school and do drugs?
Oh my God, God, what a great question. I did not do drugs, but because you know what's funny is that when I went to college, I like immediately freshman year was like, okay, marijuana is on the menu and let's see.
Just marijuana?
Yeah, I was talking about this recently because I was recently, so I moved to LA like a year and change ago, and I was recently confronted with some people who are big cocaine savants. And I have really, even though I spent over a decade in New York.
Yeah, but it has never been presented to you in New York?
I've never been offered cocaine, and I've never done it, but also like not really been around it.
Wow.
I can't explain why.
Well, you've probably been around it.
Exactly.
You just haven't known.
I haven't known. Maybe I don't consider myself super naive, but I guess I'm a naive cocaina girlina. But
some people are. I find that it's very obvious when people are on coke. So maybe you weren't actually around it. Maybe you were around really lovely, well-adjusted people that don't need to be doing drugs.
Hashtag nerds too,
yeah.
Maybe. I also think that in high school, the people that were like smoking weed and doing drugs and like pills and stuff, it was considered like too far. Like it wasn't cool.
Right.
Whereas drinking was very cool. And so junior year, was invited by a couple of friends to a party at like a farmhouse that was like 45 minutes out. And I said to my parents, hey, I'm invited to this party. I would like to go. And I hadn't really done that before because like when I would hang out with my friends, we would see a movie. We would like, and there was drinking at like house parties and stuff, but like I hadn't gone this far and they probably knew I was going to sleep over there because it was so far. Right. So my mom was like, no, you're not going. Of course, my dad was a little more lenient because that's how the things go classically, and they finally allowed me to go. This is the first time I got wasted, the first time I did a beer bong, and the first time I got the spins, and it was terrible. I mean, I drank a lot of Busch beer, maybe, and fell asleep on the floor and woke up the next day, went to SAT tutoring.
No.
And felt like I was going to die. Like
Absolutely.
And to this day, I don't really drink beer. I think probably because of that.
Getting the spins, especially when you're a teenager, like you're a teenager and your life feels so out of control. And then you get the spins and then you're like at this party and then you just have that feeling where you're like, I want to go home.
I want to go home. I'm in a farm in the middle of Missouri. Like clearly the kids' house who like the parents were either not there or like there and fully not
didn't care.
Didn't care that there were 40, 17, and 18-year-olds getting buck wild. But yeah, then I ended up, I think, like drinking throughout the rest of high school a bit at parties. And I got into adulthood and learned that just like alcohol has never made me feel that great while I'm drunk. I'm fine. But the next day I get so depressed. I'm now like weed girl through and through. Yeah. And I almost don't touch alcohol almost ever.
You have PADS.
What does that mean?
It's a little acronym that maybe I created with my friend that I used to work with in retail called post-alcohol depression syndrome.
I have PADS.
Yeah.
I'm a confirmed PADS case.
You have PADS.
I have PADS. And
I think most people have a version of PADS.
Yeah.
But some people, forge ahead. Here's the dangerous territory I'm at with drinking, if you want to know.
I do.
I love to drink. I love a cocktail. I love a glass of wine. I love an alcoholic beverage. I can really only have like my max before I teeter into PADS territory is 3 in a night. Okay? That's my max before I teeter into PADS. And, it gets hard though, because then you're like, oh, well, I had a glass of wine Monday. And I had fun. It was great. And I can have a glass of wine Tuesday. And then I could have a martini Wednesday. And I could have a glass of wine. So when you're doing this thing where you're just having like a drink a night, then it's like, wait. I'm having a drink a night every single night.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not experiencing PADS, it doesn't feel good in my body.
Should we? Yeah. But that's, I think, true about anything that feels good.
Yeah.
Is that should you be doing it every day? I think like, of course, sex is probably...
You should be doing sex every day.
You can be fucking every day.
Everyone needs to be having sex every day.
I am not.
Me either.
But if anybody is, I'm so happy for you. But if anybody in the world has ever had sex one day...
Here's my question though. And you know what? Write in and then we're gonna go to school guidance counselor. But here's my thing. If you are having sex every day, with your partner and enjoying it, please write in.
Please.
Please write in, because I don't think you're enjoying it every day. I don't. I think you're clocking it in. I think
Checking it off a list.
Yeah, I think you're like, you're proving something that you can.
I can't even begin to wrap my mind around how emotionally and physically penetrating every day is even a thing.
Can I tell you something psychotic that I do?
Yeah.
I this morning, for example, I woke up and I thought to myself, I'm going to have sex with Abe tonight. So I've made the decision that that's what I'm going to do. But unless I make that decision earlier in my day, it's probably not going to happen. Unless he seduces me, which the king can seduce, okay? But
Viola,
yeah,
you are my woman.
Exactly.
King. Listen, I think we need to normalize planning sex, because it is, especially you and I are both married ladies.
Aren't you an Aries too?
Virgo.
But it's okay. It's okay. Virgos love to plan.
Virgos love to plan.
Virgos are big planners.
And some people who might be married to me don't like to plan.
There you go.
And we need to normalize.
Normalize planning.
It's okay to plan.
We will come 3 minutes into sex and it'll be over.
I just think like planning, you saying this morning, I'm gonna fuck, is such a power move that needs to be normalized.
Yeah, here's the thing. We're gonna have sex later. It's gonna be less than 10 minutes and it's gonna be perfect. And that's it.
Done. Perfect.
Oh, knock, knock, knock. Is that a knock on the door that I hear? Why, yes, it is. Welcome to the high school guidance counselor's office. It is me, your high school guidance counselor, and I'm here to heal all of the trauma of your past. And in this section of the show, you can use this time to say fuck you to someone, to apologize to someone, or do both. So please, Eric, I feel like you have a lot to get off your chest.
Thank you, guidance counselor Greta. I do.
Welcome.
It's high school has been tough for me, as you know, even though I'm such a high achieving student.
You are a very high achieving student. You're very popular with the girls, I've noticed.
Thank you. Yeah, they're really sweet. I also, as you remember seeing in the audience, did a gorgeous job of playing Fagin and Oliver. Do you remember?
You did. Yes, I do remember.
Makeup.
I did have to leave at intermission, but you did do an amazing job.
It was a long show. I know you had to get back to your broken marriage.
You know.
I do want to say a fuck you, if I may.
Yes.
I want to say a fuck you to a specific high school bully.
Love that.
Who would not only make fun of anything that he deemed fit to make fun of, the way I walked, the way I dressed, the shape of my nose, the way that I was girly. He also would make fun of me dancing at a party. And I want to say fuck you to not only making fun of what makes me a fabulous faggotrini, but I also want to apologize that I did not say fuck you to him earlier.
Absolutely.
If I could go back, sorry, where I am back. Now that I'm back, I want to say fuck you.
Yeah.
This glow can shine and shine, and you're lucky to be basking in it.
Here's what I have to say about this bully. I think, and I know everyone says this all the time, to me that is like classic in love with you behavior.
Oh, man.
Because that is classic, like when a bully becomes so obsessed that it's like, I'm going to pick on your hair, your face, your nose, your outfit, the way that you talked, the way that you moved, with you. Like, it's not just like one thing.
Yeah, he did have a fixation.
Yeah, it's like an obsession.
And if we can go back to this moment that I'm referencing, is my senior year, we had graduated.
Yeah.
And there were like, a few of the graduation parties. And I remember being with a few of my girls.
Yeah.
And let's say the song came on was like, to the window, to the walls. And I'm to the sweat drop down my beep. Oh,
you can say balls.
I know, but I was, like,
like
we're in high school. It's crazy. Balls are crazy.
Drop down my, actually, that was always uncensored.
Always. I don't know.
Oh, skeet, skeet, motherfucker.
Oh, skeet, skeet, goddamn.
Yeah.
Side note, I said goddamn to my Catholic in-laws, and they were not a fan.
Really?
Yeah.
They're that Catholic, they don't even let you damn God?
It's Georgia, and she works at a Catholic school. I think she's surrounded.
Oh my God, damn it.
Surrounded. Oh my God, damn it.
Oh my God, damn.
So I'm at this graduation party and I'm dancing, and this specific high school bully comes up to me and he like fake like mock dances, and then he goes back to the guys who are clearly not dancing because they hate themselves.
Right.
And then like, think about it. And I remember looking at him, and I think I did say like "fuck you," or it was the first time I felt in my power of like
Right.
standing up for myself. And I remember thinking, man, it took me a little too long to be able to know that who I am is okay and what I'm doing right now is not something to be made fun of.
Right.
And so I wish that I could go, and of course, I still process now. I mean, my fucking podcast is all about asking people like, whose fault is it that you're gay? Who do we blame? And it's really like reclaiming our like joy and our pride and
Right.
on like unpacking those things. And so in my 30s, I'm still like realizing the shame that was told to me
Yeah.
that I believed for longer than I wish I had. And so I'm glad I'm now knowing that I'm a magical, gay unicorn. But in high school, I wish I had, been able to be a 15-year-old and be like, God, he's fixated and he's just sad about his parents' fucked up marriage.
But then, you wouldn't have been a 15-year-old.
That's true. And I would not have been a 15-year-old. And hello, Jamie Lee Curtis, that clip where she's like, trauma.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm probably the way I am partly because.
But now you can take peace, I do think, and
Yeah.
being like, oh, you were actually obsessed with me.
He was. I mean,
You were so deeply obsessed with me that like you saw something in me that you wish you could see in yourself,
Yeah.
and then you were jealous, and then you got mean.
Wow, Greta, that's good. I hadn't actually like, I think I was focused on not only the pain, but also just the like fuck him of it all, to
Yeah.
actually internalize like, no, he really felt some pull.
Well, here's what I always think now. The thing that has gotten me to this point with like bullying,
Mhm.
I think to myself now, when I find myself wanting to talk shit about someone
Yeah.
or wanting to, whatever it may be, I need to I really don't enjoy talking shit.
Yeah.
I think there's a time and a place, and I think that sometimes it's really good for us to like metabolize what's going on and why we feel that way. But 99% of the time I talk shit, it's because I'm jealous. It's because
Yeah.
it's because whoever I'm talking shit about, unless they've done something really shitty and it's warranted. If it's just me being like, yeah, and who the fuck is that anyway? Like, no. It's truly just rooted in me wanting what that person has, which
I
leads
know.
me to believe that so many of these like bullying situations, especially when we're kids, it's just like, oh yeah, this kid literally wants what you have
Yeah.
and can't vocalize that and doesn't even have the emotional wherewithal to identify these feelings.
Well, and the way that they communicate it is,
Yeah.
of course, to be a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
When really it's just like a yearning to be able to, I don't know,
dance.
What is
I
this,
know.
Footloose? Like, yeah,
basically.
he definitely had that. And it sucks that you say that because I know you're right. Like,
Yeah.
if there is someone that has not been super nice to me or encouraging to me in this past year, and I find myself sometimes wanting to talk shit more than I think is necessary.
But you also want to talk shit though because that's hurtful. Because
Yeah.
you're like, babe, why are you not being supportive of me? What did I do? Like,
Mhm.
I'm just living my goddamn life.
Yeah.
And like,
And it's I wish that I could allow those feelings to live, coupled with any jealousy I might have, because like
Yeah.
the yearning, because of course beneath all of that is the pain of like, I wanted to be treated well by this person because I thought there could have been a good thing there. And I think that talking shit, it's just that. It's like pain and hurt that's coming out in ways that feels
Yeah.
like we're protecting ourselves.
totally.
But obviously, like, when the bullies are doing it in high school, they are
they're ruthless.
They're
and also
ruthless
fuck all bullies.
and
fuck
fuck
all
them.
of you. I have
Fuck 'em.
no empathy for any of you.
I was thinking about it this morning. I was like, God, I'm going to be talking about these bullies. And I'm like, I could say that they did have a lot of things that were working against them. But no,
some of them are just fucking flops.
They're flops, and we all have shit that's not working for us.
Yeah.
And we do not
and
torture
we weren't, and exactly.
people.
Exactly. Tevi, do we have a classmates corner?
We do. This is from Randy. He says, "Hi, Greta Angel. I heard your call to action for your adoring fans to write in, so here I am. So this is a story from my sophomore year in high school that's a big fuck you to the manipulative girl who outed me before I was ready. I'm an openly proud gay male today. I knew I was gay from a young age, but growing up in a more conservative Christian household with very involved parents in my town, it took me some time to feel comfortable coming out to anyone before I was ready to tell them first. So sophomore year, I became friends with this loud, blonde Jersey girl who clearly developed a crush on me. She was part of that group of girls that wears pajama pants and Cookie Monster shit. You know the picture I'm painting. One night at her house, a few of us were in her hot tub, and the night somehow ended with me being locked in a bathroom with her while another girl pushed us in the shower together to make me make out with her. Over the next few months, she used her queer friend to convince me to tell them that I was bi. Classic coming out move. Then at a party, she pulled me into a room with her and her male cousin, who she said was gay, and told me to choose which of them I wanted to fuck. I left, but then started getting texts from her cousin that were very flirty and sexual, which, to be honest, I was kind of excited about because I didn't know many other gay guys. Eventually, I did the dumb teen thing and sent some dick pics. Turns out the cousin wasn't gay, and the girl had set up a burner phone to lead me on, and once I sent the pics, she forwarded them to a large group of people in my grade, telling them that I was a pathetic homo, in quotations, who was sending pictures to and harassing her straight cousin. It got back to my parents, and that turned into a whole other thing. All in all, I just want to say a big old grand fuck you to this girl, and also in hindsight, fuck you to the queer friend too. I love the pod dearly, and I tell everyone about it. Much love, a loyal Libra listener."
Oof.
Wait. Randy, we should be pressing charges.
Call the goddamn cops.
That's like a revenge porn case. That literally is.
Well, she transcends like bitchy.
No. She's a legitimate. This is not who we were talking about before. This is a legitimate
Sociopath.
evil sociopath.
And not only did she utilize your queerness to like not only poke, but like then to not only out you early,
Yes.
to pretend to be a person who is not gay,
Yes.
to then send the naked revenge porn photos.
Wait, but also to orchestrate to get a burner to pretend to be the cousin that
This is
wasn't
like Ocean's 11.
This is so elaborate.
She clearly, we'll talk about having a fixation. She must have had such crazy feelings for you, Randy. And then to not only have these feelings, but to then be a villain about it. And I know that, like, hearing that story, my dog was all over me last night. I didn't sleep great. So I'm like, my emotions are like very accessible right now.
Yeah, and the sleep deprivation
And the sleep
brings the emotions to the surface.
I am feeling your story in my fucking core of my tummy because that
It's sickening.
is
It's
so
sickening.
gross. And listen, I gotta say, the way Randy, you wrote that message.
Also, Cookie Monster girls?
Honey.
I know exactly who you're talking
You
about.
have a way with words, Randy.
Yeah.
And
I know
poet laureate.
exactly what you're talking about. Here's my thing, too. That is the kind of traumatic event that takes a lifetime to heal.
Mhm.
Like, that is so scary. It's scary when you're a teenager. It's scary when you're an adult. It's scary at all times. But, like, especially when you're that young, it's child pornography.
Yeah.
Also, me becoming like a conservative, like
on, litigation.
Yeah, I'm like full like a Republican. It's child pornography,
And drag queens should not. Wait a minute.
and drag queens should not perform in public. No, but it's when you're in Hollywood, when you're pitching stories and when you're like, here's what I want to have happen in this high school, and then you pitch that story, I guarantee you some fucking exec would be like, that just doesn't feel realistic.
That would never happen.
That doesn't feel like something a teenager would do. Babe, we're basically living in Riverdale in this story.
Roll tape.
Crazy.
I cannot believe that story.
Well, peace and blessings to you, Randy. You seem like a great person. Obviously, you have impeccable taste as you listen to my podcast. And
can I tell Randy something?
Yes.
When I was in high school, this wasn't as bad as your story, but I identify with it in a way. I had a crush, what I thought was a crush on a girl, which was clearly just like, I thought she was pretty and she looked like Lauren Conrad. And so what I did was I scanned the yearbook over like a winter break.
Yeah.
And it was her picture. And I scanned it because I wanted a picture of her, which is just like a young, dumb,
I'm
weird thing to do.
I'm obsessed with teenager. I'm sorry. I'm obsessed with our brains over that young. You're like, I want to pick. You're like, I'm going to scan this yearbook.
And then enlarge it.
I'm going to scan this yearbook. I'm going to enlarge it.
And then I'm not only going to enlarge it, but then I'm going to tell someone I did this.
Yeah.
And then that someone is going to not only tell most of the grade, but tell the girl that I scanned the photo and then jacked off to it.
Did you jack off to it?
No, I was gay. I probably was like, I love her airy necklace. I never, and of course I could be like in front of you right now and be like, actually, I tried to jack off. No, I truly
did not.
Treated it like a teddy bear.
That's
I was like,
so funny.
She's so pretty.
Yeah.
Put it under my fucking pillow. And then woke up and probably jerked off to SeanCody.com. I definitely did not do anything like that. But it got back to her, this fake jack-off story. And then her good friend, who was a friend of mine, was like, yeah, she's just feeling a little weirded out right now and just needs some space. And I remember feeling so violated and pissed that this story was being told to her and so many people. So it was I'm being pegged as a creep.
Yeah.
And straight. I was being pegged as things that I was not. And it was such a powerless feeling. And so I feel like that was a small nut of what giant bowl of peanuts that Randy had to go through. But
oh my God.
That's what a horrible time to deal with something like that. And I salute the gay boys and girls and the queerlinas who are able to be who they are today, despite the trash fires that did those things in high school.
We salute you, Randy. Big time salute to Randy. If you could go back in time and give your high school self any advice, what would it be?
The advice to my high school self. You know what it would be? I would say, Eric, you're not only funny, but you're better than the assholes who are mean to you.
Love that. Wait, I want to give my high school self some advice today. Greta, you are going to be really hard on yourself and it's not worth it. But you're going to be so major one day. You're going to actually achieve so much. And you're going to continue to achieve all of your dreams. That, none of this matters. Ugh. And you're going to do it, all on your own. And it's going to be really impressive. And you're going to be really mean to yourself. And you got to not. That's what I'd say. And don't be mean to yourself.
Can we cheers to that?
We can. Unsponsored by Miracle Seltzer, my friend's delicious carbonated water company. Please buy Miracle Seltzer today. Did you go to your senior prom?
I did. My senior prom, my dates to proms were from girls that I didn't even I had a girlfriend my junior year of high school.
Honey, you got to come back on for part 2. Jeez.
Well, the sentence version.
Did you guys have sex?
We we never had sex, but at the cast party for Oliver, of course, I took off all of the makeup as Fagin, and then I had.
I wish you kept all the makeup on.
Can you imagine my prosthetic nose on top of my already gigantic nose? Anyways, at the cast party, we were making out, and I was like, this is the only time that I'm gonna be able to test the theory of can I be with a woman?
Right.
And so I didn't want to have sex, but I wanted to maybe do some downstairs stuff, and I could not get hard. And I went to the bathroom to try to like
Fluff.
So I couldn't even fluff. There was the blood flow was straight to my brain of like,
Yeah.
And so I told her I couldn't get hard because I had already jacked off that day. Because famously,
once you jack off once,
soft for 24 hours.
especially when you're a teenage boy.
Especially when you have raging hormones.
Yeah.
You will not be hard until the next calendar day. So I then said, okay, well then at prom, could you give me a blowjob at prom?
What'd she say?
Sure, babe. Prom comes around.
Soft as a
croissant in the sun.
A croissant in the sun might be harder.
Can we do a second take?
Soft as a stick of butter in the sun.
Honey melted. Yeah, I was like, so prom came around and we both kind of avoided the matter because I think we both got so drunk that we couldn't do it and we just never touched each other. And then she broke up with me days later to be like, I feel like you don't love me. And I'm like,
you're like,
we're breaking, the call's breaking up.
Yeah. You have receipt.
One of my girlinas was in the car with me while I got dumped. And she was like,
were you upset?
I was relieved.
Yeah.
After I kissed her for the first time, I called a girlfriend, and I said, it's just like, I don't know, like it was my first time making out with someone. And I called her and I said, it sounded weird. I could hear. And then my friend told me years later, once it came out, she was like, the second you told me that you were just talking about the sound of the kiss,
I know.
She knew I was gay.
Yeah. And you know.
But yeah, she was my prom date.
What'd you wear?
You know, I wore a rented tux probably from Men's Warehouse or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. And I probably fixated on what color my tie would be.
What was it?
I think I did like a gorgeous periwinkle.
To match her dress?
Of course.
Obviously.
I loved my boutonniere.
I love that.
And I think I probably gleefully danced to the windows, to the walls.
Yeah. Or like, you know what I feel like was always played too? Snoop. When the
pimp's in the room,
drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot. I feel like that was always playing.
Yeah. God, those were good.
Now I'm like joking. I'm like, no, I was like, I die for recording this podcast. My final question of the show is, did you have a senior superlative?
So I love this question, and I love when people answer it. And my answer is that if I did, it's lost in a yearbook that can't be found.
Love that.
And which means I probably did not, and was devastated that I wasn't voted like most likely to be on Broadway.
Sure.
And that's probably what I would have wanted.
Well, on this podcast, I am now giving you your senior superlative of most likely to be on Broadway and own a home.
Oh, thank you. And can you add also be on Broadway after he becomes filthy rich from TV? And
also be on Broadway after he becomes filthy rich from TV.
Yeah, and then comes back to his house
in LA.
That is a senior superlative.
Eric, thank you so much for coming on my show. I had the best time with you.
A fucking honor. I'm a huge fan, and thank you.
Where can all of my little classmates listen to your podcast?
The classmates can follow me at Eric Wills on the socials, and my podcast is called That's a Gay Ass Podcast, and you can follow us at Gay Ass Podcast.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for listening. Please, everybody, like and subscribe. I know that we have a really loyal fan base. I see the numbers. I see that there are a lot of repeat people, but we need to get those numbers up because we got to get the numbers up. So, tell your friend, do what Randy does, preach the gospel, okay? And I love you all. You give me a lot of hope. And to that I say...
School's out.
School's out. Stay cool. Never change. Ta-ta.
That was a Headgum podcast.